Hello, North River. This is Kevin Broyles on behalf of the Coronavirus Task Force with a holiday update that we hope will be timely and useful as you prepare to celebrate this special time of year. I'd like to review three things with you: the current situation in our community, advances in healthcare and some clarification, and a special note about the holidays. On the left, you can see what's happening in the world with regards to the incidence of the coronavirus. It is going up. And on the right, you can see that in the United States, we're even more steeply rising. And so the numbers are definitely increasing. What's happening in Georgia? On the left are the statistics about the cases in Georgia, as well as the deaths in Georgia, the red lines. And they continue to rise, as well as the death rate. In Cobb County, our very own county, we see that the cases are also going up and that the death rate is also wavering, but still high. And so there's still a significant amount of coronavirus in Georgia, which is considered to be a red state, and in Cobb County. What's most important for us in healthcare is the incidence or the prevalence of positive cases. In Georgia, almost 10% of the cases are positive. And in Cobb County, about 7.5% of people who are tested are positive. So this gives us an idea of the incidence and prevalence of coronavirus in our community. It tells us that it's not time to let our guard down. What's happening in healthcare? The numbers are increasing, as you can see. The United States is having the most positive cases ever. Masks have now been determined by the CDC and the World Health Organization to protect not only the people around you, but yourself as well. This was a subject of controversy, but now it has been shown that they protect you and the people around you. What is a significant exposure? It's now defined as being more than 15 minutes over a 24-hour period of time with someone who's COVID positive, less than 6 feet away, and without a mask. I'll go over that a little bit more in the next slide. What are the symptoms of the COVID? There are many different symptoms we keep hearing about, but still 2 or more of these symptoms tend to be the most common symptoms of COVID: a fever above 100 degrees, a dry cough, body aches, extreme fatigue, loss of taste or smell, and diarrhea. Runny nose, sore throat, no fevers, those are symptoms of colds or allergies and not generally symptoms of the coronavirus. I also want to caution you to avoid fatigue. Avoid caution fatigue. The virus is still prevalent and the incidence is increasing, and we must continue to be vigilant and careful. What advances are there in testing? We now have a rapid test. The rapid test depends on the load of the virus in your system or the amount of protein. So therefore, you must have symptoms of the coronavirus, and you must get tested within the first 5 days of those symptoms. Otherwise, the rapid test is not useful. What is useful if you don't have symptoms, or it's been longer than 5 days since you've had symptoms, is the PCR back in your nose towards your brain 2-day test. This is an extremely sensitive test and does not require a large viral load, and it's very sensitive. And so this is best if you're going to be screened and you have no symptoms. What should I do if I'm exposed? Well, people can either quarantine themselves for 14 days, and if at the end of that 14-day period of time they have no symptoms, they're considered COVID-free. Or you can get tested, but make sure you have the appropriate test. If you don't have symptoms, get the PCR test. It takes 2 days, but it is an accurate test. If you do have symptoms, then the rapid test may be the right one for you. If your test comes back positive, then you must quarantine for 10 days after the beginning of your symptoms or when the test was performed. We're so excited in the healthcare community that we have a vaccine that's on the way. The science is solid and reliable. I will be one of the first people in line to get the vaccine. There have been no corners cut in developing the vaccine. It's safe and it's effective. The rapid part of the development has been the manufacturing of the vaccine prior to the proof of its effectiveness, so that we have millions of doses ready to launch once the vaccine has been proven to be effective, which the good news is it has been proven to be effective. It provides over 90% immunity, and if you should get the coronavirus but you were vaccinated, you would have much less of a severe case. The task force continues to serve you and our church. We are a team of people and a fellowship of advisors. God has given us His Spirit, common sense, and science, and our top priority remains the health of you and your loved ones. What are we doing as a church? We're continuing to limit the numbers of people who can worship, 75 in addition to the worship team. Masking, everyone masks at all times, including singing, except communion, except the worship team. Distancing, every other row is available for sitting. Families and roommates and households can sit side by side, but there must be at least 2 seats between these individuals and other groups, or in between individuals. We've got to be careful to continue to distance. We'll continue to screen with questions and temperature checks. The restrooms are still limited to 1 or 2 people at a time, with instructions about cleaning high-touch surfaces. We enter and exit through the foyer, but not at the same time. And even though the weather's getting cold, we need to fellowship immediately outside, not remain inside the building. Bundle up and be prepared for the colder weather. We recommend that you wear masks and that you distance even outside. This is an interesting and very helpful and useful diagram about levels of exposure and keeping yourself safe. High risk is a COVID carrier with no mask exposed to a healthy person with no mask. Moderate risk is a COVID carrier with no mask exposed to a healthy person with a mask. Low risk is a COVID carrier with a mask exposed to a healthy person without a mask. Extremely low risk, not social distancing, is a COVID carrier with a mask and a healthy person with a mask. And non-exposure is considered to be, even if you are an asymptomatic COVID carrier and you're wearing a mask, if you are 6 feet from a healthy person who is also wearing a mask, it's considered to be a non-exposure. I think this graphic is very helpful for us to remember our guidelines. Finally, let's talk about the holidays. Unfortunately, small gatherings of family and friends still continues to be the #1 cause of increasing cases of COVID. Ideally, you would quarantine 14 days and get tested right before meeting with your family or friends, but this is difficult for many of us. So the suggestions is to host your time together outdoors. Guests should be 6 feet apart. Hosts who are masked will serve the food and beverage. You'll avoid family style. Guests will wear masks when going through the home to the outside. Guests will wear masks when going to the bathroom, only 1 person at a time, and cleaning touch surfaces. Children should be encouraged to wear masks and use lots of hand sanitizer. If it's cold outside, then the encouragement is to bundle up or have a fire pit or an outdoor heater or blankets. If you have no yard, then a park is a great alternative. Hopefully, some of these things will be something you can think through as you think about how to be with your family and loved ones in a safe way and to avoid anyone getting the coronavirus. Finally, the North River Corona Task Force wishes you a happy Thanksgiving. We are here to serve you, and God bless.